All right, everyone, welcome back to H2H. It is week number 5. Might look a little bit different this week, as Tasos knows, but now you guys do know I am traveling and on vacation. So, Tasos, I'm waking up crack at dawn to get this thing done, but I'm coming off of a loss last week. It's absolutely brutal. I would jump out of bed at 4:30 a.m. had I been coming off of a win, but coming off of a loss here. But it was a really good week from both of us. We both go 3-1 on the show. You just had some bangers. Jags money line, Eagles alternate spread. Little sweaty, but they do come through there. How you feeling headed into this week?
Feeling good after back-to-back losses in week 2 and week 3. We talked about it last week. I really need to win badly there. Took care of business. It was a little bit of sweat, like I said. That Eagles one for a hot minute. I'm like, oh god, they're gonna blow this. But
Like the
no,
Bucks are going to do it again, type of thing.
yeah, feeling good. Oracle had our best week of the season so far. College football, we continue to kind of nail it. So I mean, I'm feeling positive momentum coming into this week. Feeling pretty good. Obviously, you're on vacation right now, so I'm hoping maybe we get you a little distracted. A little, it's early for you, late for me, but
Fair.
early for you. So we'll see how that goes. If the European, the time change and everything affects your pick making decisions, but we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, it very well could. Like, I've just been living off of wine and snacks for days and almost
What kind of
a week
snacks are we
now.
talking about here? As someone who I go to Europe every single year to go visit my family, what kind of snacks are we talking about here?
I've had a bunch of croissants.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
which I've gonna be in 3 different countries here. But you know what I've been having? Crostinis,
Okay. Okay.
with a bunch of different stuff on top. Honestly, I haven't really liked those, but they've been kind of just like giving to me left and right. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's very good. Not exactly the biggest fan. Maybe it's the stuff I'm putting on top. Had a bunch of pizza in Italy, which I think I went 4 straight days of having pizza, which isn't that abnormal, back in the U.S. But still, yeah, I've just been eating and drinking here, so maybe I am a little distracted. If and this is loser speak, kind of like you give sometimes. If I lose this week,
Oh, okay.
I'm blaming it on vacation. If I
All
win,
right.
it's just the worst look for you in the entire world. But hey,
I mean,
it is what it
listen, I don't know
is.
about the worst. I don't know about the worst look. I just played 1.5 soccer games, 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night. We both kind of are at a little bit of a disadvantage here. So in terms of timing and rest, and at least you're eating croissants and stuff like that. I mean, we're still we're in the USA, but
That's fair.
yeah, in Greece, I don't know what it is, but like they love croissants filled with anything you can think of, like chicken, hot dogs, feta cheese, like anything you can think of, they put it in a croissant. It's crazy. I don't know why such a fixation on
Well,
croissants, but
there's been spots here, even in Malta, when it's like a brioche filled with something. I don't know the word in Maltese or whatever we're speaking here, and I'm like, I don't really know what I'm eating, but it kind of tastes okay sometimes. So yeah, but guys, if you don't know how the show works, it's not a Europe versus USA talk. Shout out to the Ryder Cup here. It's actually a football pick show in which Tassos and I battle it out each and every week. We go through and spin a wheel to decide which categories we partake in. Whoever wins the most units that week ends up on top with a win. And Tassos, we're now 2-2 through 4 weeks
yep.
here in what we call the rubber match season, right? Because I won last year, you won the year before. So yeah, this has been pretty good so far. You ready to get into it?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Momentum's on my side here.
It is.
Again, if it sounds like the croissants are messing with you a little bit, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I wasn't really talking those up too much, huh? It's like
No, it doesn't
I
sound like you
have.
talk anything up too much in terms of the food. It sounds like you've been not totally pleased with the results so far.
Hey, one thing I will say: wine windows in Italy, in Florence, you walk up, you ring a little bell, and a hand pops out with a drink through a window. That's absolutely awesome. So that I can talk up all day
That'd
long.
be dangerous here, though. In the USA, that'd be a little dangerous.
It was dangerous there. I was walking around. I was like, "What's happening?" It's 11 a.m. But all right, let's go ahead and jump into it, guys. You'll see a wheel on your screen again. This will look a little bit different this week because we just don't have the same editing resources and whatnot. But you got a wheel on your screen. I'm going to shuffle the categories right now. You got some spreads, player props, Thursday night football, underdog money line, plus money line, a bunch of different categories that Tassos and I will partake in today. We spin it, whoever it lands on. we end up actually, Tasos, I have the wrong wheel up,
Wrong
don't
wheel.
I?
Wrong wheel.
All right,
Uh
there we
oh.
go.
Uh
Right wheel.
oh.
Right wheel there. We do
Uh
things differently here over the pond. But all right, whoever this lands on will go first. You did see the next wheel that'll pop up in just a second, but all right, let's go ahead and spin it. Kind of want you to have it first, Tasos, just to
yeah.
reset some
Yeah.
things.
After that, that's rough. I was thinking, I'm like, is he gonna do the name wheel first or?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's gonna be you first. Oh, I spoke too soon.
All
I'm
right.
not
All right, we're right back at it.
right back where we were last week. Jesus.
Yep.
All right.
All right. This is I don't know if you can hear this, but this thing is clapping in my ear like you read about. All right, here we go. Now we have spread Thursday Night Football. Whatever category this lands on is what we end up jumping into. Tassus and I both have to partake. It is a snake draft, and Tassus is leading us off.
All right.
Is that going to sit
One
there?
player prop. We're getting player prop.
All right.
All
So
right.
that now gets removed from the wheel, guys. We do have another player prop slice on there, though. But Tassos, you're starting it off with a player prop. Then I'll go, and it's a snake draft from there.
All right. I got to do a little look here because I have a few options. I think this might be the way to go about this.
Ooh, I have
There's
a
a couple
beautiful
different
one.
options here. Looking through. Like I said, little player prop was. I'm going to be honest. Player prop was the one that I did not want right off the right off the bat.
Well, then I'm glad it popped up.
All right, here I got it. We're going Daniel Jones, and I know I'm going to get some slack for this, but Daniel Jones over 250.5 passing plus rushing yards. Grabbing that for minus 115 over on BetMGM. He's got an incredible matchup in this spot. Now, the Raiders this year, they're 23rd in the NFL in terms of passing yards allowed, 13th in the NFL in terms of rushing yards allowed. So, pretty good matchup for the most part, especially in terms of passing yards. In terms of PFF grades, the Raiders rank very low. They're bottom 10 in the NFL right now in pass coverage grade. In defense in general, they're a bottom 10 defense. According to PFF. So that obviously isn't in the favor of the Raiders there, in the favor of Daniel Jones, though. And the numbers have been pretty good. He's 4-0 so far this year on this line. So 100% hit rate this year. He's averaging 283 passing plus rushing yards per game this year. Now, to be fair, the last two games, you've seen the numbers drop a little bit, and he really doesn't add too much in the rushing yard department.
Mm-hmm.
Week 3, he had 27 rushing yards. Week 1, he had 26. So it's not like he's running for a ton. It's mostly covered in passing yards, but in case he does decide to take off and run, it's an extra layer of protection there. But yeah, numbers are pretty good. They are a really strong passing offense. And again, you've got that matchup against a really weak passing defense. Look at the last 4 quarterbacks to face off with the Raiders: Caleb Williams, Mariota, Herbert, and Drake May. 2 of the 4 cashed their overs. Justin Herbert missed it by literally 1 yard. He was 273.5. He finished with 273. So across the board, I should say, the numbers look really good. And Daniel Jones, I'm a believer in Indiana Jones. I think this is a real thing. I think it's, the Giants, Daniel Jones was a matter of poor coaching, poor offensive line, poor weapons around him. Now you give him the Colts O-line, the Colts system, their culture, their weapons. He looks really, really good. I don't think this is a fluke. A lot of people have seen comparing this to, you remember last year, Derek Carr and the Saints, how they start off the year so hot? I see a lot of people compare that. I think this is totally different. I think Daniel Jones just finally, for the first time in his career, is in a good system. So over 250.5 passing plus rushing yards, that is my player prop in this category.
Yeah, you know what? I don't mind that because I do think it's kind of like game script proof. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't need to be trailing from him to pass the ball a lot, or like almost that's going to be their game plan going in. I know Jonathan Taylor is obviously very good and whatnot, but technically, if you look at these Colts games in which they've been able to win and even hang in against the Rams, right? It's like they're putting the ball in Daniel Jones's hands. Like, yes, they have Jonathan Taylor, who's one of the best backs in the league. People forget that. But even still, it's almost like for Daniel Jones, he's going to have the quantity and the volume, regardless if they're probably smacking up the Raiders or if some way, somehow it's a shootout with him and Geno. So I do like it from that angle. I probably would have just said, go with 220, whatever it is, 228.5 passing yards. But
Not bad either.
at the same time, I don't necessarily mind the idea of tossing in the rush there because you're getting what, like a boost of 22 yards, and like you said, in 2 games so far, he's already had a couple spots in which he's taken off and run a little bit. So yeah, I don't necessarily mind it. Also, I believe Marcus Mariota had 40 rushing yards against him, Herbert 31, Drake May 11, Caleb Williams 13. So looks like you should get at least like a floor of 10 rushing yards there. So yeah, I definitely don't mind this spot. And like you even said, targeting that Raiders secondary and whatnot is not exactly the worst move in the world. So yeah, don't mind that there. I will say, I took the alternate line Rams last week, right, against this Colts team. I lean a little bit more towards the flukishness of this Colts team. I do think that they're good. I'm not going to call them the Saints where they're 2 weeks in, they look amazing, and then they literally are like the worst team in the league. But I don't know if like Daniel Jones is going to continue to be that good. But I don't think 250 through the air and on the ground is like asking for a crazy amount. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and especially like I said, I'm gonna agree with you. Like I think the Colts, they are a 9-win team. They're like a 9-8,
Sure. Yeah.
maybe a 10-7. They're a good, not great team. I also agree. Like Daniel Jones is Daniel. Like at the end of the day, he's better here because of the system, but his weaknesses are still there. They're just masked because the Colts have the offensive line, they got the running back, they got the weapons. Like it makes it easier. This spot is more about fading the Raiders because, like I said, the Raiders
Okay.
right now, looking over on PFF, 23rd in the NFL in terms of pass rush grade and 27th in the NFL in coverage grade. So this is a team that defensively they've just not been very good. And obviously, they don't have a great pass rush despite having Max Crosby. And their coverage grade is one of the worst in the NFL. That obviously is not very good when you match up with a Colts team that's coming off a loss. A couple of missed opportunities in that game, too, where like Adonai Mitchell fumbles out of the end zone,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So I think the Colts here, a little bounce back game. I think Daniel Jones has a pretty big day against the Raiders defense that is confirmed just not very good.
Yep. Fair enough. All right. I'm gonna target a player. Hopefully I'm not using one of my bullets for Thursday night football because I do like a player prop here in Thursday night football. I think this guy's starting to get going, and we've started to clearly see the I guess the carry percentage and separation there. Kyron Williams for plus 100 right now, I like his over 69 and a half rushing yards. He should have the volume, even with obviously Corum behind him and whatnot. But ultimately, this is a Niners defense that I'm not going to really sit there and think is all that fantastic, especially with some of the injuries that they've had to deal with. I think that this is I've been saying it on the show all year, right? I think this Rams team is really, really underrated. And with a 6.5 point spread, if Matthew Stafford can kind of start them hot, then I do think that Williams is going to get a bunch of carries. And for him to go out there and rush for 70 yards isn't all that crazy. Last 10 games, we date back to last year, 85.6 yards per game. Last 2 weeks against Philadelphia, Indianapolis, 94 and 77. Even the starting weeks against Houston and Tennessee, wasn't the best look from him. Really struggled to kind of get it going, I guess, in a sense. 66 yards in both of those games. And his last 2 games against San Fran here, 89 and 108. So I like this, especially because it is plus 100 here for him to go and rush for 70 yards. I think Kyron Williams has a good game here. I also almost considered his kind of like you did in terms of a combo stat there, almost considered his rush plus receiving at 80.5, so 80 and a half. I don't hate that either, but I'm going to stick with the 70 yards on the ground for him.
Yeah, I can't really dispute this at all. I think that looking at the outlier screen, going through the numbers, I mean, it all looks pretty good. Like you said, the two head-to-head matchups last year, obviously these teams being division rivals, those head-to-head numbers are very important.
Yep.
So far this year, 50% hit rate, but honestly, it's more about the matchup. The Niners this year versus running backs, like you said, 18th in the league right now in rushing yards allowed to opposing running backs, according to Outlier. So that's not great for the Niners. And then on PFF too, the Niners' run defense is right now is graded 21st in the NFL. So this is not a great run defense. I mean, good opportunities. The numbers seem to be pretty good. The only honestly worrying statistic is the fact that it is 50-50 so far this year. But like you said, to be fair, 66 and 66, he missed it by 4 yards in those two games. So he's in the vicinity of this line in all 4 games. Considering the matchup, I think 70 yards is very gettable in this spot.
And what I love is so far this year averaging 17 attempts per game too. Like this is a guy that say he averages, I guess what he's been averaging, 4.6 yards per carry. If he has 17 carries, we're looking at a guy that is going to blow by this line type of thing. So hopefully that continues. And like I said, I am really trusting the rush share and everything like that. Like this is obviously or should be in a sense their feature back, especially as the Rams hit a little bit of a stride. You know what I mean? So yeah, and we're getting plus 100 odds. Like that's a nice little look there.
Yeah, good value. And one last point, it's like the only way this is a bad pick from you is if the Rams trail by a lot and then they have to throw it. But like the Niners right now, their offense is running on fumes. Like Purdy may not
Right.
even play on Thursday. Like I just can't imagine this Niners team going up large enough in order for that to negate Kyron Williams' rushing yard prop. So I just don't see the Niners taking a big lead at any point in this game. Therefore, I think he's going to get a healthy amount of carries. And like I said, I think this is a really good player prop. And for plus 100, it's great value.
All right, let's jump back into the wheel. I'm going to be starting us off in this one. You were correct in terms of saying how, a little distracted, a little underprepared. I do have some plays for each of these, but I feel a lot more comfortable, going first in this round, than I guess player prop probably was the best category for you to go first in because there's
Yeah.
such a plethora of options, right? But there's a couple of these. I'm not going to tip my hand here, but there's a couple of these where I have one play, and if you were to take it, I'm like, oh boy, that's going to be tough. So let's go ahead and spin it. I have a total that I really like. So
I have a
maybe I
few
shouldn't.
totals this week that I like. And we're going to get
Oh,
totals
would
here.
you look at that?
Call on your shot.
Okay.
Maltese Ev. Malti-Ev.
Maltese Ev. Oh, that doesn't sound as good. All right, I'm looking at this one. Let's see where you come out on this. Because I think it's a good look, but obviously I'm leaning towards it here. We got the Cowboys and the Jets right now for over 46.5 for minus 125. I don't think if okay, this is how I'd put this. I do think that this Cowboys offense is legit. I've said that plenty, no CD Lamb, whatever. Dak Prescott, if he stays healthy, can sling the ball. And we even saw kind of an emergence there of George Pickens, right? Like, hey, we can pick up some slack. Don't forget I'm a number one wide receiver. Throw it over to the Jets side of things. I don't necessarily mind their ability to put up some points. And again, this is 46.5. I'm not trying to tell you that it's going to be a 40-40 game like we saw with the Packers and the Cowboys, right? If this is a 27-20 game, this thing cashes. And we just saw the Dolphins, who a lot of people were saying their offense was stagnant and everything like that, put up a similar number there against this Jets squad. And again, I do actually have some faith. I know a lot of people are saying that, oh, the Jets offense isn't real or anything like that because everyone's talking about that week one game against Pittsburgh. I think they're real enough to give you somewhere between 17 and 24 points with the talent that they have. And this Dallas defense is definitely not good. Like if they can score 20 plus points on the Dolphins, which I actually think is kind of a sneaky defense in terms of talent they have and whatnot, I would say that they can score it on Dallas here. So I just like both offenses versus the defenses in a sense.
Yeah, honestly, with this play, the only thing that concerns me is the fact that it's such a public play. Like, there's
Yeah,
so many people right now hammering this over, and for good reason. These are two bad defenses. The Cowboys' defense right now is giving up 33 points per game. It's really bad. The
crazy.
Jets' defense not far off. Okay, um, and the Cowboys' offense is confirmed good. The Jets' offense with Justin Fields, it's like you said, it's good enough. They can get somewhere in the ballpark of 20 points.
Like
The
they have
total
they
should
have the
be fine.
talent, which is good. And when I say talent, I mean Justin Fields is good enough. Brees Hall is very good, and we know Garrett
Yeah.
Wilson is filthy.
Offensive line is good enough. Like I get it. Honestly, I can't really dispute this. The only thing that concerns me is the fact that there's so many people on that ticket, and so far this year, if you go through like some of the deeper betting statistics, those heavy public plays have not been covering at a very high rate. It's been very bad. I think it's like less than 40% of where it's like I forgot. I read this statistic from. You guys ever heard of Evan Abrams over at Action Network? He's really good with like the betting numbers. I don't want to misspeak completely, but it was something along the lines of like plays where 60% or more of the public tickets are like less than 40% hit rate this year. And that's where I'd be a little concerned where it's like, this is such a, because who right now, honestly, is betting under in this game?
Right.
Logically, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't bet under in this game. That's the only thing. But if that's the only reason to not bet this, I don't think it's a good enough reason. I think that both defenses are bad. Both the Cowboys will carry the points, but the Jets should be able to contribute enough. So I like the play. That's the only thing that gives me any hesitation is the fact that it's such a public play. But besides that, it's a good one.
And that's fair too, because that's even kind of what we both said about your Chargers last week. When you
Yeah.
took that, and it's like, how could you make any sense one way or the other? And all of a sudden, Jackson Darko's out there and
And they lost Malik
one.
Neighbors too. Neighbors goes down, and you think, all right, now I'm good. Now the Chargers still lose the game. So like, it just
Yeah,
sometimes like that public money. I know like people sometimes like to just like push it aside and say it doesn't matter. Sometimes where the public bets does matter in terms of the outcomes of the spreads and whatnot. So I do think it's relevant to talk about. But yeah, I mean that's the only thing. It's just I'm looking up right now just to get an accurate, up to date number as of like time of recording on
It looks
Tuesday
like
night.
73% on the
Actually, yeah,
over.
Action Network says that right now it's 73% of the public bets are on the under. So that's a lot, and you are
On the
seeing a
under
little
or
bit
over?
extra money on the over.
Okay. Well, I like
It's
that
a
then.
it's a thir- it's a 10% difference between cash and public tickets, which it's not a big enough difference to
Yep.
mean too much, but you are seeing like a heavy amount of public tickets are on this over. So that's the only thing I'd be a little concerned about. But otherwise, like I said, this over should smack. This
Yeah,
total should be like 60 points if we're being honest.
Yeah, I would say that, I have the same concern because anything you look at, anything we look at, anything like, again, in our dashboard that we can look at, it looks like offense should be for both teams, right? The offense versus defense should be a win. So, yeah, I like it. Where are you going?
I'm going with a sloppy play here. We're going with the under in the Giants Saints game. I'm looking at what line exactly I want. I'm going to play it a little safer than I probably should. I'm going to go with the under. What are the odds here at 42 and a half? I just want to see. Yeah, we're going to go under 42 and a half, minus 129 over on no vig. Um, you honestly could go as low as like 39 and a half. I think it's still a good bet. Just
Hmm.
taking a few extra points in case one of these two teams happens to get a little something going. I just don't see where points get scored in this game. Both offenses. Now, Jackson Dart did look impressive in that game, but this offensive line's not good. Now you have no Malik Neighbors. The Saints defense isn't good, but it has like their run defense at least is somewhat decent. So like you're talking about like the Cam Scatabo angle or I just don't see the Giants scoring many points. And on the flip side, obviously New Orleans Spencer Rattler is not the long term guy. The Saints offense has been putrid. I just the thing is neither defense is all that good, but neither offense is good either. These are
Hmm.
two terrible teams. The Saints 30th scoring defense, Giants 27th scoring offense. You flip that around, the Giants 23rd scoring defense, Saints 28th scoring offense. So these are two bottom 10 offenses and defenses going toe to toe. When it comes to that, it's kind of a crapshoot, right? It's either the under smacks like another game like this is the Browns Vikings game where you have two really good defenses going toe to toe, where it's like either two things happen: either the under hits by a mile, or you get a game where like this game could be like 45-42 Giants. You know what I mean? Where
Hmm.
like it just both defenses are so bad that the offenses look good. I'm going to lean on the side of I just think that these are two sloppy teams, and I just don't see where the points are going to come from here.
Yeah, I mean, that I can definitely get behind, but you've said it multiple times yourself too. Like I can hear your hesitation to some degree in the defenses, right? It's like if someone were to ask where are the points going to come from, you would be like somehow, some way from the defenses. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
if you look at this, if you look at the two teams, I don't think that there's really any argument to be made that oh, Scatabo is going to carry this team to a million points. No, I think what Wandale Robinson, no. So like, yeah, you're all over that, and even Jackson Dart watching that game, people are really, really high on him, and I get that he made some really big, like nut up or shut up type plays and whatnot. But realistically, like the big plays and the conversions that he was making were these like quarterback draws and quarterback designed runs to gain 1 yard. And the Saints got 1 week of film on that. I do think that they're at least defensively going to say, okay, well, let's take this 3rd and 1, bull crap out of it and make sure the quarterback gets hit if we're going to do that. The Chargers had no idea that that was coming. You know what I mean? So I do think that, to your point and to the picks point, that we're going to see a little bit worse conversion, third down success rate, and that type of thing from the Giants, because all it takes is the team to be like, all right, on third down last week, like 4 out of 5 times when it was third and short, they did this designed run where they just gave the ball to Dart and had him go run. It's like, yeah, he's good, he's mobile, he's strong, but you can stuff that fairly if you just have any inkling of that's coming in a sense. I really don't know who he's going to throw to or anything like that, obviously, as well. The best point I think you made is probably the New Orleans offensive side of it. Like this team, I don't even know what they're like. Chris Olave may be their best player because Alvin Kamara is not really getting any touches. They barely put the ball in his hands. Spencer Rattler kind of, I mean, he stinks.
I'll
So
say don't say
yeah,
kind of. Don't say he stinks. He's
yeah,
bad. It's
yeah.
pretty bad.
So it's like I get that. I don't see how they move the ball because even that, how I said before, like where do the points come from? The defenses. I don't really see like the the Saints, even on a defense like the Giants, truly moving the ball. Even if the Giants defense is Swiss cheese, you still have to move the ball, and there's just not that many options for the Saints. So I definitely don't mind it. I think the move was I could see this being like similar to the Giants game last week, right? Was that like 39 points or something? Which I don't mind the move of the 42 and a half, because I think you're giving yourself a little bit extra of a grace period there. So I might have done the same thing, kind of with a slight alternate line, because who knows, we get a a 21-20 type game, and you're like, wow, like we needed an extra point or so. So yeah, I guess I like it, but I do worry that these defenses, like, this is for both of these squads probably. I mean, I know the Giants played against Dallas's bad defense. They scored 37, but like, these are two of the worst defenses that either one of these squads have seen so far. So who knows if they light it up.
Yeah, the only thing, because the team, I think that if you're looking at what team's going to score the points, I think it's the Giants would be the safer
Giants.
bet. And the problem is that, like, a lot of where the success right now is, like I said, there's design QB runs with Dart, Cam Scatterbo, and you look at the Saints, like, they're not. I'm not trying to hype them up. They're not a good team. They might be the worst team in the league next to like Tennessee, but their run defense right now is not terrible. Their run defense is 15th in the NFL according to PFF. That's not. I mean, it's mediocre. It's not the
Right.
worst though. And then you look at the Giants, like, their run blocking grades, and again, PFF a really good tool for like player grades and stuff, and like team grades. The Giants' run blocking grade right now is bottom 10 in the league according to PFF. Like, these guys do a really good job with the numbers, and like, they're telling you with the numbers they have, this Giants team is not good. Their offensive line is not good. The pass blocking grades, the run blocking grades, they're both bottom 10 in the league. I'm not saying the Saints are this great defensive force, but they're good enough where the Giants' offensive line is so bad. I think the Saints can stuff some runs there, especially Jackson Dart, and I think they're going to get him hurt, honestly. And it's hate
By
to say
doing
that,
those, yeah.
but you're just going to keep doing those design runs over and over. Like, you're going to get him hit hard and eventually hurt. So I think the Giants would be the team that would score more in this spot, and I don't think their matchup is a good matchup, but I do think it's not as good as some people think based off of obviously the Saints, how bad they are. Like, they actually do have some areas defensively where they match up halfway decently with the Giants.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, you ready to jump into round number 3?
Yeah. I'm ready to be done talking about Giants Saints. That game is going to be awful.
That's all you. That is you. You brought that to the people. All right, we have spread Thursday Night Football, underdog money line, plus money line, player prop, spread, and anytime touchdown left on the board. You are starting us off in this round. With this being the third round before Fade Me, which, guys, stick around to the Fade Me round, is there anything that you're specifically looking at here?
I mean, I honestly, and I'm not going to say the world's my oyster, but I'm pretty open here. There's nothing I really want more than anything else. There's nothing I like less than anything else. I'm pretty happy with what's left on the board here.
Okay, let's see what you got.
And we're gonna get
underdog
money line. Ooh,
not sure if I'm loving that, so I'm glad you're going first. Very glad.
All right, I have a few options here that I kind of like, and it's a question of which one do I like more. Got it. Found it.
All right. Boy, didn't leave me too much time.
I'm going. It's not a huge underdog money line. I kind of wish I got something with a little bit more juice on it. But I am going here with the Baltimore Ravens on the money line against the Texans. Baltimore's had a rough go of it lately. They're 1-3. To be fair to them, their schedule has been brutal to start the year. Like, I think people they're talking, and their defense, they've got some issues. Like, their defense is pretty bad right now. But all things considered, I mean, their schedule straight. They so far this year have played the Chiefs, the Lions, and the Bills in 3 of their 4 games.
Crazy.
That's pretty good. I mean, those are all 3 heavy playoff contenders in all 3 of those spots. So, and they lost, like, the obviously the Bills game was a really close one. The Lions game, they were hanging around. The Chiefs game was a disaster last week, but they're 8-2 in their last 10 games at home. I don't think, and this is somebody, this could be me still being a bit butthurt about the Texans the first couple of weeks destroying my bets, but do you really watch the Titans game last week and you're like, the Texans are back? Like, their defense is still good, but their offense, I don't trust it. Like, I just don't trust this offense in any way. I think the Titans are that bad where the Texans look that good against them. I think Baltimore at home, they obviously, they're 1-3. They kind of need this win. I know it's still early, but 1-4, you're now in a really tough category. I don't think if you're Baltimore, you want to play in Buffalo round 1 or in Kansas City round 1. So kind of a big spot, but this is more about fading the Texans offense. This offense isn't good. Even last week, they
Mhm.
did score a little bit versus the Titans in that second half. This Texans offense does not impress me in any way. Their offensive line is pretty weak. The way to beat the Ravens is you have this super dynamic offense like the Lions have or like the Bills have. I think even as weak as the Ravens defense has looked, I don't see Houston scoring a lot or moving the ball much. And their defense has been solid, but it's not as good as like someone like me. All I did all offseason was advertise this Texans defense, this Texans defense. It's been solid, but it hasn't been as good as it should be. And I
Right.
think Baltimore can go ahead and take advantage of this one. So I think for plus, you're getting the Ravens at home for plus money coming off a loss. I think it's pretty good value.
I believe, and I'm trying to look it up now. I think there's a Lamar Jackson injury on the table though,
Yeah, I don't really care.
and if he doesn't play, I don't know who the backup actually is off the top of my head. But if he doesn't play, that explains obviously why they're plus money, right? That being said, I almost, whether you mention it or not, I almost kind of agree with you that like this Ravens team, it's crazy to say because they are 1-3, but even if no Lamar Jackson, I think that they can move the ball better than this Houston team because they can still give the ball to Derrick Henry, who is just due for an absolute like beasting of a game. Like obviously he's had a couple good games here, but the fumbles with him need to stop and all that. Like we could have a just hand the ball off a million times to Derrick Henry and they end up winning the game. So yeah, injuries probably impact this one, but I guess I would say the only saving grace is that that's why you're getting technically still overall one of the more talented teams for plus money in a sense. I'm trying to find the backup. Looks like it's Cooper
Cooper
Rush.
Rush. I
Which
like
I
that.
mean, you know, he,
I
he
like
had
that.
he had a couple he had a couple sparks there in Dallas, right? And he's known to kind of fill in for a star. So yeah, like I do. If you were telling me that the Ravens, I'll say this: Lamar Jackson is like at least like a 30-cent swing for me, obviously, right? In this
Yeah.
game. So if you were telling me minus 120-ish or something like that, I'd be like, oh, worried about that. But for a little bit of a flyer plus money here, you're still getting the better team. Like I know that Texans looked pretty good. So I kind of do like the spot. I am definitely not gonna like disregard that Lamar Jackson's doubtful to play though. You know, I
Yeah,
think that
he's
that's a
probably
big
not gonna.
deal. But
I'm reading. The more I'm reading, the more it's like he's not gonna play. But I think Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush. The one thing that you did see during his time in Dallas, like when he was called upon, he did look pretty good. And like this
yeah,
Ravens offense, he's getting plugged into a really nice Ravens offense. Again, and I get like obviously it's not a good look. I'm sure a lot of people are like, wait, Lamar isn't playing, but like that's how bad I truly think the Texans offense is. The fact that like even without Lamar Jackson, I still like Baltimore just a smidge more. And honestly, the value spot. If Baltimore was minus 110, I wouldn't touch
right,
them. It's
right.
you're getting the Ravens at home. John Harbaugh, this offense, like I know the defense hasn't been great, but they do have playmakers on that side of the ball. Like I do think Baltimore can win this game. Houston's offense, I can't like confidently say they're going to be good in this one. Like they got major issues, and they just traded. I saw did they just trade like an offensive tackle, if I'm not mistaken, that they just made a move.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I swear I just
Well,
saw they just traded a tackle. It was is Cam Robinson on the Texans? This might be a
oh
stupid.
no, yeah, yeah. They just
Yeah, they just traded Cam Robinson to the Browns. So like they just
yeah,
moved their tackle. So like this offensive line was a nightmare to begin with, and now you just trade one of the veteran offensive linemen you got. Yeah,
yep.
not a good look for the Texans.
Yeah, that was yesterday. I don't know. The hours are kind of
Yeah.
like a little weird because I don't know exactly what's yesterday in my brain versus what actually is. But yeah, again, like this, you did say it at one point too. You're fading the Texans as much as you are thinking that this is a Ravens back team. Obviously, if Lamar was playing, we probably wouldn't be seeing a
No.
plus money here whatsoever because everything you said is right. Really good coach team. They're back at home. They've had a tough schedule. It's a bounce back spot. And they do have, I mean, if I'm a backup quarterback, I don't mind the idea of being behind that line with Derrick Henry. And even if I have to throw the ball, guys like Bateman, Zay Flowers, that can really create some separation. So yeah, don't mind the spot. I do like kind of agree with you though. If this were to be worse odds, then yeah, it would be tough to back a team without their MVP esque type quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm going in a different direction. I do think that this is throwing a dart a little bit because I'm kind of going up against a really good defense here in a sense. But for plus one, what am I getting this at? Plus 164 on Novig right now. Plus 164. The Tampa Bay Bucks, I think, could be a little bit of a decent look here against Seattle. I think that this price makes sense. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Oh my god, how are they plus 164?" Like the fact that the Bucks even have a few wins this year, we talked about last week on the show, right? Like they've had to scratch and claw to get these wins, but I don't mind the idea of Baker Mayfield in this spot. Seattle, as we've seen all year, plays a ton of zone. Baker Mayfield's really good against zone. Yeah, no Mike Evans. Bucky Irvin's even questionable, which that would be a tough loss. But you know what? Rashad White's not the worst backup in the world. You throw in the fact that this is still a Bucks defense that will get to the quarterback, will blitz, and I do think that we could see something very similar to. I think in week 2 we talked about it. Week 1 we saw Sam Darnold just get his not even his head blown off by the 49ers it was that they played, right? Like if this Seahawks line doesn't show up, which they're well capable to not show up, the Bucks could control this game defensively, and then you do have sort of the magic maker in Baker Mayfield as a little, in your back pocket too. So I think, for if again similar, we're taking underdog money line here, right? So I mean, similar sort of thought process. If this were to be minus 130 or something, I'd be like, I don't know, that Seattle defense is legit, right? But for plus 160, what did I say, plus 164, I kind of like the Bucks here in this spot.
This was honestly, this one was my runner up in the terms of like what I was going to go with here because Tampa, the biggest thing for them is injuries, and like even last week, despite all the injuries, and this is why Tampa has been such a fun team over the last couple of years. Is like even with all the injuries, like last year, the same thing. They just find a way to if not win the game, keep the game close. I mean, that game they were getting killed for a while. They battled back in the end. I mean, the Eagles are one of the best teams in the league. They lost by 6 without Mike Evans, with a lot of other pieces. Seattle, the thing with them is that they're a very interesting team, but like that Thursday night football game versus Arizona scared me because they dominated almost the entire game, and in the fourth quarter, they almost blew it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little concerning because I don't think Arizona is that great of a team. So,
and that's like what the Bucks do as well. You know what I mean?
it's
Like
that
you
Baker
don't
Mayfield
want to,
magic.
you don't want that to be your Achilles heel against this Bucks team.
And the Bucks, like their offensive line, starting to get healthy. Like Tristan Wirfs is coming back. They get Godwin back now. Like I'm with you on this one. Like this is definitely a good spread pick. If you guys are looking for spread picks, like this is a good spread pick. But for money line too, like I like this. I honestly might sprinkle something myself. I know this is H2H, and I shouldn't be betting on your picks, but this is one of those ones where like honestly sprinkling the money line, maybe not putting a full unit, but something on it is not a bad play. Like Seattle also, I don't know if you saw this one on Outlier. They are 2-7 straight up in their last 9 games in Seattle. That home field, that 12th man advantage they used to have during Legion of Boom days, not looking as great anymore. So I mean, that's a huge
Yeah,
advantage
that
too.
ain't booming, huh?
No, definitely not booming lately. Did you
Yeah,
see all the
that's
Richard Sherman stuff they say about Russell Wilson? It's crazy
no.
for a team that had so much success. Like they hate their
Oh, I
teammates. Like
I've seen that. I
Sherman,
didn't see any
every
like
chance he
specific.
gets, he shits on Russell Wilson. It's great. But
I feel like those guys just didn't like Russell Wilson is not Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, Marshawn
no.
Lynch, you know what I mean? Like they were probably trying to have fun and like talk smack and whatnot. He's like, all right, guys, get back in the huddle, let's do this thing. It's like, dude, let us like he's the least Legion. I know that's the defense, but Russell Wilson may be the least Legion of Boom
Yeah,
esque
there's
type
nothing
guy
tough about
in the
Russell
world.
Wilson. I don't. You don't think you think Weenie Hut Juniors when you think Russell Wilson. It's not really a tough guy thing. But
Like if he was saying unlimited or like let's ride in that locker room, I'd hate him too. That is not
yeah.
the place for it. That is not the place for it.
But yeah,
But all
Seattle.
right,
I don't know. Like I said, this is a team that like their defense is legit. Darnold looked decent, but yeah, like you mentioned, like their offensive line is not very good, and Bucks pass rush, so they get to them. That's the key. And again, the Baker Mayfield magic, it is a legit factor here. So yeah,
yeah.
I think Tampa Bay money line for that value can't beat it.
Again, like if anyone's watching this and being like, "Oh man, I want to jump on that," you guys made a good case for Tampa Bay because Seattle can blow it and all this. It comes down to the odds. It's not.
I
It's
will
not.
say though, I did just forgot about this. Seattle is basically getting extra rest though, because obviously they haven't played
Yeah,
since Thursday, so that is an advantage for them. They are getting the extra rest factor, which obviously, considering like Tampa, for example, with all their injuries,
yeah.
it's not really a short week, but obviously not having the extra rest advantage. Maybe it's something, but again,
Do you
Tampa
do
still
you
to me.
uh do you buy into that as much as like for this so when you play Thursday and then obviously Sunday, right? Because I think playing on short rest is a lot different than playing on your normal rest against a team that has longer rest. Do you know the difference that I'm saying?
I agree with you. I think playing on short rest has way more impact than playing on like
Right.
extra 3 days. But I do think it's still a factor. Like I think it's still something. But definitely like for example, like this week, like if you're the Niners, right? Playing on coming from Sunday where you get with all the injuries they have, and now you have basically
Yep.
3 or 4 days to go ahead and prep for the Rams. That's a tough spot. Like that to me is a bigger disadvantage than you know playing a team that has an extra 2 or 3 days
Yeah.
to
But
prep.
I don't want to disregard it or discount it, but I do think that like you get a week of rest versus I guess obviously what is that 3 extra days that
Yeah,
is
3 extra
is a
days.
big enough deal. But yeah, again, that's probably priced in there though. That's why we again have that value on the Tampa Bay side of things. But
Yep.
Tassos, it is our favorite time of the show, isn't it?
It's fade me time.
It is Fabian time. If anyone does not know how this one works, we're going to spin the wheel, but it's going to be back on that original wheel of Ev and Tassos. Whoever this lands on gets to pick anything that they want. It doesn't have to come from the wheel or anything like that. And the other person has to take the exact opposite. Tassos had I mean, honestly, we could say that was a banger last week,
Yeah.
Tassos. With the Eagles, you took them alternate spread, right? -5.5. I don't even know where that game officially closed at, but either way, you went 5.5 for +122 at the time of us recording. And yeah, you had to sweat it out. We've already talked about it. Bucks doing some magic and all that, but it came through and was a big win for you. Honestly, like both of us going 3-1 in the show shows exactly how powerful Fade Me can be
Yeah.
when done correctly. So, do you have one that you think is a nice little spot for you this week?
Not as like last week I came in at a show like this is the one that I'm gonna get them on. This week I have
Yep.
options, but there's nothing that I'm like this is the one that I know is gonna hit. Like I like again I do this. This is the second week in a row I've done this where I kind of talk myself out of my
Yeah.
own picks, but
I like it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Have
I have
zero
I have
confidence in
I
your
have
plays.
options here. I don't have that like golden ticket pick like I had last week.
All right, that is usually what we're looking for in Fade Me, though. So I think that's a good sign for me. Like I have one that I really like that I think you wouldn't even mind the other side of. But let's go ahead and spin and see what we got. All right,
Like I like the picks. It's just I don't have one that stands out more.
is
I'm
that going to
actually
sit?
interested to see where you go with here.
Okay, yeah, I think that this is going to be like I don't think you're going to mind the spot that I give you here. Let me see what we got for odds for both of ours. Okay, yeah, I really don't think that you're going to mind this. It's kind of a weird one anyways. But so right now I'm taking a peek, and this is another Thursday night game play. So wow, we have two plays. Fade Me is happening on Thursday. That's going to be a big swing. Christian McCaffrey over 14.5 for his longest rush. I'm getting +100 on it, and you're getting, let's see, for under 14.5 -130. Now you look at it this week and excuse me, these 4 weeks he's at 13, 10, 15, and 11. Nothing really all that great. And you look at the Rams and it's like, oh well, the running backs they've seen really haven't been crushing it either. But I do think that there's some room for McCaffrey to break one off here. If we've seen, I guess, any laps in this Rams defense, it's been a couple, not exactly on the ground, but I'm thinking McCaffrey hopefully finds a hole and goes. So I would say this more through the passing game. There's been plenty of explosive plays that happen against him. It seems like in all of their games, not necessarily the Eagles one, there's a bunch there, but this defense is really, really sound, and then a slight boom or something like that happens. And when I say boom, I'm talking like a 15, 20-yard play. I'm not really talking about like McCaffrey. If he breaks one off for 80 yards, great. But I'm thinking this could be a spot in which one gap, a guy that's really, to be honest, struggled as a lot of this 49ers team, 15-yard run from him. It could be over in one play. He could have one run, he could have a million, carries for 22 yards. If one of those went for 15, I'm looking at a +100 play here. So how do you feel about under 14.5 for -130?
I don't hate it. Obviously,
It's a weird it's a weird spot
a
because it
weird
is such a
spot.
roll of
Like
dice.
this is in the same category with like your kicker props, where it's like I don't really
Yeah.
know what to say against it. Like I don't know how to really. The,
That's fair. If you had it, you're a psycho. If you had like a really good argument as to why you can't take as to why you love the under.
yeah, the only thing I'll say in my favor is the fact that no running back this year
Has
has
done
a
it against
run
them.
of 15 yards or longer against this Rams team.
Kind of
The
scares you
oldest
though, doesn't it?
is Nick Chubb has 13 yards in week 1. That's the longest rush of the year against this team. So there's not a lot going on there. So that's, I
They're
guess,
due. They're
but
due.
to be fair, it's like 12, 12, 10, 13. Like it's I mean, it's in that ballpark. And McCaffrey, I mean, I don't know, Barkley and Taylor are in that same ballpark of
Yeah,
elite
yeah,
running
I know.
backs. But the fact that Nick Chubb is the only one is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of
Um,
funny. They've seen Pollard who gets a million carries a game, Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, and then Nick Chubb's like, I'll do it.
Yeah, by one more yard. Yeah, like I said, again, it's hard to build a defense for a longest rush under, but that would be the defense. The fact they haven't let it go really this year
Yep.
that much, and then their defense in terms of yards per play, it's tied for the 8th best in the league, 4.6 yards per play. So I mean, they're not really giving up those big time plays, whether it be in the run game or the pass game. So that's the only thing I can really say, other than you're a psycho for all these crazy,
Yeah, it's such
crazy.
a niche little play.
It's a niche
Like,
one, but you know what? That's the difference here is that you find those. So I'll give you credit, and for plus 100 too. I mean, good value. I'm trying to see, just look through a few more numbers here. I mean, he's only cashed it once this year, and he only had a
yep.
25% hit rate last year. So I get why it's plus money. The only thing, the big thing I think in your advantage here is the fact they need him to make big plays because no Ayuk, no Kittle, Purcell's hurt, Purdy might be
Yep.
out. Like all those things that they're going to rely on him heavy in this one. He's going to get like 50 touches in this game. So
He should at least, which would obviously help here. And the good thing too is that even if they're getting, like smacked around, which I now have a play on both of the running backs in this game, which will be fun. This is still a spot in which they'll hand the ball to him to some degree. I'm not saying like they'll like we just said a second ago, get a bunch of carries. Like realistically, he'll still get a lot of volume, but it's almost similar to your play with Daniel Jones earlier, like game script proof in a sense that even if this 49ers team's getting smacked by the Rams, I think Christian McCaffrey will get his touches on first and second down, and they'll try and get something going. So
yeah,
yeah, volume play. I think we have a lot of bullets in the chamber here for him to potentially run for 15 yards. So yeah, I do like the spot.
yeah. I mean that's the thing. Like even when they're losing, like their way to get back in the game is McCaffrey. I mean you're not gonna, especially if Mac Jones out there, is your way back really gonna be Mac Jones throwing up to Jawan Jennings and whoever else
Right.
they have a receiver who's healthy, which is basically me and you might be getting a call from the Niners soon to go play wide receiver. So if you have McCaffrey on the field, you're going to use him as much as you can, whether that be the passing game or the running game. So I get it. I get the spot. It's just
It's just a weird one.
it's a weird one. And like I said, the defense would be this Rams defense does not give a ton of
Yep.
big plays, but we'll see.
Fair enough. How do you feel about your week 5 board here? You didn't get fade me. That's obviously usually a big
I'm going to be
swing.
honest though. Like I was a lot more scared to fade me because I was like, oh God, you're going to pull out something like that's one where like I genuinely I don't hate being on that. Like
Yeah.
obviously anytime you bet an under on a superstar like McCaffrey for any category, you're not like loving it. But in that case, like that matchup, I don't hate the spot. Watch him get a 19-yard runner out the gate, and I just feel so defeated. But yeah, I like my board. Like I said, this week I was a little bit more risky in terms of the plays. Like I was looking at like Giant Saints and Ravens team with a backup quarterback, taking some risks. Maybe the win last
True.
week got to my head a little bit, but I'm feeling a little risky this week.
I will say you have a pretty even including taking the under now with that Christian McCaffrey, you have a pretty volatile board. Like
Yeah,
you have an under and a longest rush, which is a volatile category, even for me, right? Like over and under, that's volatile. Again, you said Ravens with most likely no
Cooper
Lamar,
Rush
Cooper Rush. You have Giants, Saints.
under.
Daniel Jones, I guess is isn't he could be volatile too actually if you want to throw it
I'm
in there.
basically Daniel Jones, Cooper Rush, and Jackson Dart
Rattler and
slash
Dart.
Spencer Rattler. Like it's like, hey, what are the
That's
worst
good.
quarterbacks in the league? Let me go ahead and take all these guys.
Oh, I love that. I don't mind. I don't mind my spot here. I mean, for being on vacation, I think that I did pretty damn well. You know what I
Not
mean?
bad,
I knew
not
these.
bad.
I knew the matchups. I knew who was playing who. Let's go. Let's cook. But all
Yeah,
right. Any
you did
last
pretty
words
good.
for
You did
the?
pretty good. You almost
Yeah,
started that beginning wheel though. It was almost. I was like, oh god, this is not going
yeah.
to be good. When you had
Yeah.
the
The wrong
category
wheel
wheel
up.
before the name wheel, but you did pretty good.
Just wanted to tease it to the people, let them know that that was coming. So that's as simple as that. But all right. Any last words for the people back home here?
No, just enjoy the rest of your trip. Like I said, I've seen some pictures on Instagram. Looks beautiful. I mean, as someone who frequents the European vacations, I hope you enjoy it. And like we were talking about before we started recording, I think Greece has to be next.
Yeah, maybe we do an Evan Tasos Greece adventure someday.
Hey, listen, we have a house out there, so you wouldn't need Airbnbs.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. He says that now. I start beating him in H2H.
If
He's
I
like,
lose
hey,
H2H this
get
year, I
the
might change my tune.
Airbnb. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll catch everyone in the next one.